You all welcome to today's forum, which is on the trends and emerging opportunities for women in the pharma business. Before us today, we have an array of women who understand the trends, the changing times and the seasons. So they are here to share with us from various aspects. We have in our midst pharmacist Patience Chega. She's the MD of Unicom Chemists and also the Vice President of the Pharmacy Importers and Wholesalers Association.
Thank you.
You're welcome. She'll speak to us on pharmacy operations in the pharmacy business. And then we also have Kate. Kate is the MD of Prime Pharmacy, and she will speak to us on people management in pharmacy business. Can we clap for them, please? Audience, you may note down your questions as you listen to them, and when it comes to question and answer time, we'll try to give you some answers to whatever will be concerning you, whatever will be your concern. So, Patience, would like to start with us on pharmacy operations.
Hello, everybody. So I'm here to talk to you about pharmacy operations in Ghana and with women, and then also what trends are changing in the pharmacy business as at now. So if we talk about pharmacy operations, we talk about how you get your pharmacy opened, whether you want to do a retail pharmacy or a wholesale pharmacy. First of all, you have to think about what name you are going to use for your pharmacy. And I know there are a lot of young ladies who would want to go into pharmacy, whether wholesaling or retailing. We are focusing on ladies now because we want the numbers to increase a bit more than we have in the pharma business now. So like I said, you think about what name you would want to use, and then that name has to be registered with the Registrar General. So what has changed about that in these times? Because of the COVID, everywhere you go now in Ghana, people are working from home, people are working in shifts, people are working less hours. So if you want it to be quick, you join your hands and your minds together and think about the name you want, and then you head for Registrar General. You get the name registered. Then the next step will be to Pharmacy Council, where you are going to register either your retail or your pharmacy. It's after that, most probably you might have to get a location before you even go to Pharmacy Council. And because of the trends, again, it takes a bit slower for Pharmacy Council to get your shop registered. When your shop is registered, you have to get a place organized, and then you come to stocking.
Yes, we are not in normal times. We are in abnormal times. Thank God we are being sponsored by Kinel Hand Sanitizer. Kinel is sponsoring this program. Kinel, thank you. Please, can you clap for Kinel? Yeah. Patience, having heard you, may we hear somebody speaking to us on inherent trends. You may want to do that for us because yes, you have been in this business for so long. There are some inherent trends that will be required to operate a pharma business successfully. Would you like to share what it is that you have that has made you so successful, and what others may want to cultivate?
You have to be hardworking. And you have to be firm, because you are now going to be working with people that you have to manage. We all know in school we are not taught much management. Then you come out and you open a shop and you have to manage the shop and manage people. People managing is very difficult, but it becomes part of your work. As you do it, you get used to it and you learn the tricks of how to manage the people.
Okay. Idana, you want to chip in something?
Yes, I wanted to. Mrs. Chega, one thing that you said that caught my attention was the name, the brand of the pharmacy operation that you want to have. People choose certain names. I'm sure you just hear the name and you're wondering, really, is there a pharmacy? And then there are also others that you hear and you feel like, oh, okay, because of the name, you think something really pharmaceutical care is going on. In your experience, how would you get a name that should I say, really connotes what you want to do?
It takes a lot of thinking. People merge their names, Victoris, then we have NS Chemist. But there's always sometimes a story behind a name.
Okay.
And the name should be such that it will be easy to remember.
Okay.
And maybe easy to spell. And it shouldn't be a name that you are copying somebody. Okay. So at the end of the day, an issue comes up and it is somebody else, but it's associated with you because of the name.
Okay.
So it's always something that you have to think through before you pick a name.
The MCAs have the training for them to serve as support staff. They don't replace the pharmacists. Neither are they replacing the technologists. They are a support staff at the medicine counter, and they're actually called medicine counter assistants.
Okay.
So they're just assistants in the pharmacy. There's a level as to how much they can go. You can send them around instead of the pharmacist, the technical person running around to source for products and all that. They can do all those running around and leave the technical aspect of it to the pharmacist to do. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, yes.
In managing, possibly like you had said, of course, previously the pharmacy training we had in pharmacy school does not really put you as a manager. But you come out and you want to go into pharmacy business, and so you do become a manager. One thing I think we should also look at is the possibility of us also doing other things, getting other knowledge, like HR, for instance, which can supplement what you know technically as a pharmacist for women to go into pharma business. We need to, you rightly put it, we need to create a balance between I want to be a mother to my staff and I am a manager to my staff. I think we need to create a very good balance, because in you having that two balance, you are also not taking advantage of and losing, but then and again, you are also training other people to become better than themselves. So we need to come out of, oh, okay, I'm a pharmacist and I can have a pharmacy business by license. That is good. But let's come out and also explore and study and learn other courses, HR, other things that can supplement what we technically know as being a pharmacist. Because for me, I think that would actually make you a better pharmacy business owner as a woman than just trying to always play and use, let me mother them, and because I'm a technical person, I can actually come into the pharmacy space.
We say thank you to Leaders Africa, because they are forever giving training. In fact, this is one of the things they are doing, exposing us to what is out there, trends and opportunities available for women in the pharmacy business. Leaders Africa has also been involved in CPDs. So ladies, if you hear of any CPD being organized, please, it's usually for free. Education, I mean, like the 40 CDs or 50 CDs that we pay, it's just so small compared to the knowledge that we acquire. So I'll encourage ladies to always patronize these CPDs.
Something.
Thank you,
I think
Nancy.
that, as women, when we are managers, you realize they call us ma. They tend to take advantage of us sometimes because of that compassionate, nurturing nature. So I think women have to be a little more firm sometimes.
Yeah,
you said it, to walk that thin line.
You have to be
You actually said it. Otherwise, they build on that ma thing. They never call the male bosses that.
daddy. They do.
They never do. But they will call you mommy. And because of the mommy thing, if you are not careful, you allow so much to happen. And you start seeing them as your children. And then even when you have to reprimand, it's not, you tamper justice with mercy, right? So I think as women, sometimes we need to move a little bit away from the ma concept and then actually handle things a bit more technically than, I wouldn't say more like men, but really go about it without all the compassion and sympathy we usually apply.
Thank you.
The sympathy and compassion can work to advantage. sometimes being interested in people's lives, dealing with them, they will do more for you when you need it, just because you're a woman sometimes. But again, we shouldn't let it override the, advantages we get from it, so that we end up with being ma, and then somebody's doing something bad, you have to hand him over to the police, like you're saying, but because of the you say, okay, let's give him another chance. We keep on doing that. It's our nature, we can't change it. But sometimes, when it comes to business, you have to try to be a bit firm and fair, actually. It happens more to women than men, really. So I think we need to take note of that particular factor and then deal with it.
Just to chip in, and Patience, I think your point there is an excellent one, in that with whether it is a pharmacy, whether it is whatever business, there are procedures that should be in place. These procedures help us with the way we work. So for example, as you said, for us in manufacturing is our standard operating procedures. So if somebody is not following that, you can find out what it is that they did, why they did it, and ensure that it doesn't get repeated. As well, one of the things we are just recently about to institute is what I call a code of conduct. And it's something that I think is essential in every business, in how we actually operate and what we mean, and in terms of being able to ensure that people operate with integrity, do not actually, as you said, steal in certain ways, and therefore we can actually say this is how we want them to work within our environment. When you have those already spelled out, whether you call me Ma or not, I can refer to it. I'm sorry. I think if we, whether we are women, can say that we are able to discipline our children, we should be able to take that back into whatever workplace and environment, and also discipline, the adults. Because for too often, things are left because people feel, why? No. If we follow or you're not following, there should be a fundamental reason, and I say this to a lot of people. Sometimes even when you have some of these operating procedures in place, there might be a situation where something has changed. If we look at the situation we're in right now. So I may have had a procedure where we didn't used to wear masks. Now that something has changed, I need to go back, review my operating procedure, update it, ensure it goes with the new times, and therefore when there's an infraction, I can hold them accountable. A lot of times, once we put certain procedures in place, we sit back, we've done it. Continuous improvement is essential in order for our businesses to grow. That's what we're talking about when we even say continuous learning. So you're improving yourself, you're improving your business, you're improving your systems. Everything has to be continuously improved so that what you did 5 years ago would have been good. It's not essential. It's not going to take you very far today.
Thank you. So, audience, we just heard from Teresa Yosin. She is also a pharmacist.
Yeah, I'm saying. Actually, no, I'm not a pharmacist.
She's a woman in pharma business.
She's a woman.
She's a woman in pharma business with fighter Riker. She's into manufacturing. And she just threw some light on operating procedures. Whatever they are applying here, it runs across, once you have the procedures in place, if I get you right.
Yes.
If you are in retail, if you are in wholesale distribution, if you are in a hospital, once the procedures have been spelled out, we just have to follow through. And sanction and reward accordingly. Thank you very much, Teresa. Thank you. When it comes to partnerships, I think, especially when it comes to distribution, pharma distribution, you will find one company taking stocks from Accra to Kumasi. Another one is taking similar lines, also from Accra to Kumasi. So the cost of transportation is being borne by all of us. Why can't we come together in a joint venture so that we can share this cost of transportation and also share the risks involved?
Taking on from there, a lot of times it's also actually being able to identify what your strengths are. That's the way I look at it. In that, I am not, as I said, I'm not a pharmacist, but perhaps I have excellent supply chain expertise. So what I can bring to that partnership is my distribution, so that I can take from your pharmacy, from yours, and then send to either your outlets in Kumasi or even to hospitals in Kumasi on your behalf. So if I come to you with a business model of that nature, then it's in the terms and conditions, and look, you can get any lawyer, etc., to agree. You might then give me perhaps a percentage of the value of the sales for that distribution cost. I have taken off you something that you actually don't have the expertise or the knowledge about. What we tend to do, and that's the point you're making, which is very right here in business in Ghana, and that's where I've worked in multinational companies. That's what they understand in the sense of knowing where their strengths lie and bringing to bear that they cannot do everything
along the supply
exactly
chain.
what you're saying, yes. So along the value chain, what should they be known for? And they continue to stress on that and build on that. Then they leave the rest and find others who can support their expertise in order to get it to the final consumer. Because in reality, and I was trying to explain that in another Zoom call I was in just yesterday, we're in COVID times. So everybody is asking us in Ghana, in the pharmaceutical world, what can you do? How can we quickly catch up and perhaps manufacture medicines? I'm in manufacturing. But the reality is, if we have not put in our society and even overall in Ghana, over the last 30, 40 years, a concerted and systematic approach to building the entire pharmaceutical value chain, from the making of the medicines to the pharmacies, etc. We can't wake up overnight and expect it to be there. This is being a little ludicrous. You understand me? I will still have to rely on global supply chains. I cannot erase my partnerships with India and China overnight because active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs I need are being made there. What has India done? India has said, I have invested in the technology. I've invested in the expertise. I've invested in the know-how to manufacture these APIs at a cost that completely cuts out maybe Europe. Why am I not buying from Europe today? I can perhaps say quality matches, but India is able to say to me, quality for quality, you can get cheaper there. And that's where when then you put all of it together, then you say, quality for quality, I can deliver to Kumasi. I, as a supply chain person, can take from 5 of you, and because I'm taking exactly to your point, from 5 of you, I'm maximizing and optimizing the cost of every single truck that leaves Accra and drives off to Kumasi. So that your one truck may not be cost effective. You are paying for the driver, you're paying for the fuel, you're even paying for maybe a bank loan, even just to
insurance.
Thank you. I can have 5 or 6 in a fleet. I am checking for every driver how long he spent. And you see, a lot of times I keep telling our teams, I'm sorry, as we are growing Ghana, what we need is analysis. We don't check and analyze half of what we do. We're just doing it for doing sake. But measure, look, you think abroad, that truck, before he moved from point A to point B, it's not even a truck, thank you. Everything, every cost has been itemized down to the nth detail. So that he knows I better rest only 15 minutes in, say, at that rest stop, no more, or half an hour. It should take me 2 hours from here before I get to. If he doesn't get there, he doesn't make his money.
Wow.
Yeah. So we are learning.
Yes. Before we move on to the supply chain, I wanted to add on to the analysis bit.
Yes.
Yes. I would like to say that I think we don't do enough analysis as well. For instance, if I look at the pharmacy market, the pharmaceutical market, and then the population that we have in Ghana as a country, I can say that the pharmaceutical section is sort of a bit overpopulated. But if different pharmacies could come together to form one institution as opposed to setting up different production lines. These would be people who would, be sharing the risk and be sharing the revenue that comes with it as well.
That's a good one.
Bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
ladies,
have
let's-
tiny operations.
Thank you. A question has just come in. Mr. Hemenadai wants to hear this. He says, I hear a lot of emphasis on lady pharmacists. What are my chances of success if I'm not a pharmacist but want to do pharma business?
Okay.
He's not a pharmacist, but he wants to do pharma business. As a woman, I guess.
I guess that's a pharmacist.
Doing the pharmacy business begins with you having a pharmacist. So if you are not a pharmacist but you are interested, you need a pharmacist to begin with. And if you are a business person and you are business inclined, together with the pharmacist, you can do something big. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think, as we said, there's the whole value chain between production to ending up in some pharmacy shop or a hospital or even to the consumer.
Yes.
So I think if the person has enough funds and the logistics, right? Yeah. The logistics to be able to, find out. Maybe you don't have to be a pharmacist, but you can actually transport the drugs. Is this a pharma business? I'm not too sure.
Yes. You
So you could actually take anything along the supply chain
Mm-hmm.
and make it work out as well. But I think if you want to have a pharmacy, then you must be a pharmacist or employ a pharmacist.
Exactly.
Yes.
There's things along the chain that you could actually get involved.
But in all that we are saying, there's a regulator. When it comes to pharma business, the regulator, even distribution, we have good distribution practices, good storage practices, all these have to be met. So you don't just jump in and start storing products anywhere.
You need to go through some due process.
Yes.
Understand exactly what you want in that chain.
Yes.
And then apply for the requisite licenses.
Exactly. And you have the opportunity to engage a pharmacist.
Okay.
The pharmacist has been trained, he's technical, he will teach you what storage, what temperature controls you have to be in place, storage conditions, the pesticide, all that, fumigation and all that. So please engage your pharmacist.
We will.
Engage the pharmacist, and especially the lady pharmacist.
That's true. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we have another question here. It says, please, can we get the contacts of the panelists so we can engage them after this session? Sure.
That is very possible.
Yes.
And Lead It Africa would ensure that you can get the appropriate contacts of the panelists to talk. Because for me, I think that women in pharma business shouldn't just end here. It is an ongoing thing. Trends and opportunities in pharma business come every single time. I mean, we woke up in March 15th, we went to church, and 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., we were told we can't do anything from the 16th of March 2020. So we can, you can. It's an ongoing thing, and it's emerging. And one thing we need to look at, like Teresa had said earlier, things and how we used to do things in 2010, 15, 5 years ago may not necessarily work for us now. So we need to look at what works, what it is. And thankfully for us being pharmacists, or thankfully if you wanting to come into the pharma space, is more or less you need to investigate, you need to listen, you need to look at, you need to interrogate all those things. And as you do those things, opportunities would come. Emerging trends will show up. But then you also need to be prepared for it.
Okay, Kate. Yes, please go on. We can hear you.
So with people management, what I want to say about it is pharmacy is a very sensitive industry. With respect to people management, you are as strong as your human resource or your human capital. And over time, the general trend that has worked for us with people management is that, one, we clearly define the job description of individuals, and which has helped in high performance. And then we facilitate teamwork as well, and this helps in profitability. And then having a clearly defined organizational structure so that who knows what they are responsible for or who they report to and what's not. And then adequately rewarding employees. And with the reward, it doesn't necessarily even have to be money. Sometimes it's a compliment. Sometimes you acknowledge somebody's performance as well. And then we enforce measures that ensure increased productivity, and this overall helps the company to meet its targets. When moving on to, my inherent strength as a woman in managing people, especially in the pharmacy business, I mean, first and foremost, I want to say that women are great managers, and we are able to use our feminism to our advantage when it comes to talent management. We pay attention to people, so it's easy to see who is strong where, and then put them in that particular department or field where they thrive, and ultimately that leads to the success of the organization. We're great at multitasking. I can be dropping an email and still having a conversation with my daughter at the same time, and it will still be spot on. And I strongly believe women are great when it comes to connecting to their teams. We're more empathic to our team members, and it takes me back to the ma conversation that we were having earlier, because it's easy for people to come to women with their issues because they know that they will lend them and then it's still on communication. We are able to leverage it to our advantage. Like, it helps us to find a great balance between being the strict boss and then the soft boss. Like, you can say that we can play the good cop and the bad cop at the same time, and it's still, while still remaining very articulate and getting our points across, which almost always plays to our advantage. And we're very calm under pressure too, so that makes us good people managers as well. And finally, I want to add that women create great synergy. We are great collaborators, and we are always looking out for win-win situations when it comes to analysis, when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to, name it. We are very great when it comes to taking decisions that benefit both parties. Thank you.
When it comes to people management, and for what you just told us, has it always been the case? Because it looks like the ideal situation. Did you have to, at any point in time, bring in some changes in attitude, changes in the way we do things? Did you ever have to, at one point, bring that in, and how was it received?
Yes, we certainly did have to. We didn't start off having figured out all these things, and I think we're still learning. It's a continuous improvement process for us. We employ one thing and then it works for a couple of months, and then maybe something else has to come in. So before, honestly, I don't think things were as structured as they are now. Again, we're bringing up more outlets, so they need to properly structure the organization. So it hasn't been an easy migration. There's been rebellious here and there, but I think patience, communication, making the team understand that they are part of the entire growth process have played very important roles in the entire migration process for us.
Did your team have to make contributions towards the change?
Yes.
So it's kind of, now we all own it, so we are all running with it.
Exactly.
More like.
Wonderful.
Just so that you can follow. Two questions have come. One is, do you think it's necessary to have a loan to start a pharmacy business? And then two, because you're in retail, how do you feel about common pricing of products? Do you think it's something, so then, I mean, in, let's say, how do you call it, a 1 kilometer radii, all pharmacies within that have a common price for products. How do you feel about those things in retail business?
With respect to the loan, I want to say that if you can finance the pharmacy to an extent, you should. If you need external support to start, it's acceptable. We can't do it all on our own. If we can get the help, great. But if you can do it yourself, that's also great too. When it comes to pricing, it's a bit tricky because a lot of things influence pricing. There's where you are sourcing it from, there's the cost that goes into the transport, there's the taxes and other factors that come on board. So it's a bit tricky to, say that yes, all pharmacies should have the same pricing when it comes to specific products. If they are sourced locally, yes. But if they are not, it is it is a bit dicey. Some yes, some no.
Yeah, no, can I come in here on the
Yes,
pricing?
yes,
On the pricing. Depending on where the pharmacy is located, like Kate said, the parameters that go into pricing are so the array is very varied. If you have a pharmacy in a location where it is prime, you're paying prime rent, your overheads are so high, it goes into your costing. And so the consumer will have to pay for that. But if you have it in another place where it is easy, the doors are open, no air conditioning, overheads are so low, the price will be different.
For our viewers and those listening in, there is just a lot of opportunities. I would want to invite Lucia. Lucia, are you here? Lucia, Executive Secretary.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And just give us a few of your thoughts in 3 minutes. Give us a submission. And then we'd also want viewers to also, and participants, sorry. We want to also acknowledge Ansa. Ansa Kodo will be talking to us shortly in Pharma as a marketing business. And she's coming in and dialing in all the way from Switzerland. So even though it's cold, and so sorry, Ghana is warm, sorry. But we would love to hear your thoughts. So yes, Lucia.
Okay, so thank you so much for the opportunity. I greet Madam, yes, and then also panelists. I'm very good for this opportunity. I think I'll speak of two main things. The first one is a woman in pharma business, which is tough. And then the second thing is the opportunities that are available. So I am very grateful that there was that mention, you have to juggle career, being a woman with the pharma business. Sometimes involves work duties and mama and all of that. And sometimes that is difficult for women to really come into the industry. I think currently we have about 2 CEOs or MDs in the pharma space, which is not good enough. We have a few more people who are technical, and then other people that want to join. I think I'll use this form to encourage men out there. Don't be afraid. You don't have to start big, and that's due to the opportunities. You don't have to actually start like or other company. All you have to do is just first of all identify the opportunity. So we have a lot of inputs that we use. From the alcohol, the cornstarch, the packaging materials, the corrugated boxes, and everything that we need people to manufacture for the industry, and you can specialize there. And I must say that the companies are actually happy to grow with those companies. So if you start small and you want to grow with them, they'll be able to give you the specifications and grow with you. So there are those opportunities. And of course, if you are doing retail now, you have a couple of outlets. You move into wholesale, you do a bit of importation. I think you should be inching closer to manufacturing, because manufacturing is for the economy. It reduces kind of foreign exchange we actually take out there to buy raw material or products. It also encourages more jobs to be available in the country. There's so many markets, it reduces inflation. That's a lot for our economy. So I would want to encourage more women that don't be afraid. If you have any challenges, my name is Lucia. There, look for me. I'm very easy to find. So just look for me, have a talk. I'll be happy that 10 years down the line, we'll have more women sitting across the table making decisions, ensuring the future generation is employed, because now we have more pharmacists coming out. What do we do if we are not careful to ensure that some of these young people have jobs? What will happen is that they'll reduce the hanging of lines to, I hope people are not listening, hand this just so that they can make something. And that will not be good for all of us. So thank you for the opportunity again. I would want to encourage more women to come into the industry and not be afraid of the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucy. That is well thought. And again, Lucy says she's open. Any woman, be a pharmacist, but as far as you want to go into drug manufacturing, she's available. We want to acknowledge our sponsors for making sure that this Women in Pharmacy Business Forum actually happen. We want to thank Janssen, Ozone's Chemist, Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Kofi Chrome Pharmacy Limited, and the Lady Pharmacist Association of Ghana, LAPAC. We are privileged to have the CEO of one of the leading health insurance companies in Ghana nationwide, Nancy Ampa, to discuss with us the trends and emerging opportunities in health insurance for women in pharma business. Nancy?
All right, thank you. I'm not a pharmacist. I'm into health insurance, and what I know is that about 30 to 35% of the claims we pay go to pharmacies or are on drugs or medications, as the case may be. So I'm more of a consumer than a practitioner of pharmacy, to speak. For us, health insurance is now, or I judge, one of the best ways to finance healthcare now. Even though in Ghana we still have a lot of out-of-pocket payments, health insurance is the way to go if you want to attain the UHC as SDG something 3 or 4. So I'm not sure which one it is, but to attain universal health care coverage. So for us, it's the rising cost. You've explained what leads to all that. I appreciate it, but when it comes to claims, I wish it would go down. What I've noticed is the tendency to, now I'm not sure whether it's the prescribers or the dispensers, but there's a tendency to go for branded drugs. As opposed to if you, well, that's in the private health insurance space. In the national space, it's all generics. Yeah. But in the private space, we tend to see more of the branded ones than the, and it's like generic sometimes is a bad word. You say generic and people are not too happy with it. They think you are giving them substandard drugs. I don't know where that came from. So people prefer the branded drugs, and so we end up having a high cost of care. The high cost of care would translate into higher premiums, and then fewer people can afford it, and then we are not attaining the UHC. So if there's a way we could encourage good generics, I've been told there's something like good, and another word I learned, efficacious. Generics. So that the cost of healthcare would sort of come down a bit and be a bit more affordable for people.
We are just about having our last and final speaker. Ansa Kodo talk to us about pharmacy as a marketing business. Ansa is dialing in from Switzerland. She is a pharmacy marketing expert, and she works with GSK Consumer Health. Ansa, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can perfectly hear you. Hi.
Hi. Hi all.
Hi.
Great. Right, so I'll just spend the next few minutes talking about the current and emerging trends in pharma marketing as a business. Just tweak it a bit to look at the context of the conversation, which is ongoing, just to make sure we're relevant, and also look at what is the unique or inherent strength that as a woman you can bring to marketing when you are in the pharma business. So to start off looking at the current and emerging trends that we have in pharma marketing, as we know, COVID has immensely negatively impacted humanity in all areas. But one thing that it has done for marketing is that it has accelerated our thinking when it comes to digital marketing. First of all, there's insight gathering. The advent of AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning has ensured that we get to understand where patients are going for information, HCPs are going for, what they're searching for, as well as what influences and generally how they do behave. This provides a lot of data, or should I say rich data, that businesses can leverage and use to advise their marketing strategies, as well as deliver personalized engagement to support high contextual consumer experiences. One of the things that Nana mentioned earlier in the program was looking at our interactions. Due to the fact that face-to-face interactions has decreased, more and more we're looking at how do we interact with people remotely or through virtual engagements. So businesses need to start looking at how best do I set myself up so that I can better provide services for patients or even for the healthcare practitioner, wherever they might be, and be able to deliver information or content or solutions that are relevant for him wherever he or she might be. Telehealth and e-commerce is a booming business at the moment. In this era, people are quite apprehensive to go out, and then most of us found ourselves online shopping or buying other things online, which we would have normally gone out to purchase. So this is an area where pharma businesses need to look at their businesses and see how best they're set up to be able to address this recent trend, be able to provide medical service or healthcare facilities or services to people wherever they want them or wherever they find themselves. One key thing when it comes to marketing that we need to keep at the core of all initiatives is looking at customer or patient behavior, which is something we tend to overlook. But we know that in recent studies, or even where we find ourselves with the hygiene measures when it comes to COVID, people are now looking at preventative health measures. They're looking at information or data to better protect themselves. So it's a trend that we see patients as well as even governments going into. So as a pharma business, how do I best tap into this behavior? Because we know that this is a trend that will be here for the next year or two. So how do I best utilize all the strategies that I have to set me up for success and ensure that I'm putting measures in to win against competition in this area? And that leads me into looking at what is the add value that as a pharmacy business I do bring to the table. Earlier, there was a question about if you do have a retail, do you just concentrate on selling medications, or do you also look at selling bread and other facilities? Now, people buy into what you're selling if there's an evident greater benefit beyond what the products that you sell. And research has shown that patients or customers, they're really looking into what is the add value that you as a pharma business you provide to them. I would want to enter a retail where I can get all the things that I need as a one-stop shop and be able to, which will be convenient for me. So within this trend, we're looking at how best do I, as a business, support my customer base such that they do see me as not just providing treatment, but also looking at what are the non-pharmacological or non-therapeutic solutions that I have available to them, and building really a relationship. When I come into your business, how do you receive me? How do you interact with me? That's also a key thing that we need to look at when it comes to marketing your business or marketing whatever products or services that you're selling. The last point on the current trend is social media. There has been a lot of or increased consumption when it comes to social media. Patients, consumers, HCPs are all online searching for information. Within this, when the pandemic started, there was so much fake news and so much myth and facts that people were looking for sources of relevant information. So people are out there consuming information. So you need to be out on social media. You need to look at how best you can leverage that to support your business or to be able to provide support for your customer base and really utilize it such that it reaches people or it has relevance and tapping into the current trends that we currently at the moment do have.
For all those who listened in and for all those who partook, what we want you to understand and know is that there are still very many opportunities and good ones for women, especially in pharmacy business. There are qualities because you are a woman, you have certain qualities that makes you succeed. And so we should not shy away from coming into pharmacy business because we think that we can't. By virtue of the fact that you're a woman, you can. And then, of course, another thing that we learned is start small and grow. Mm-hmm. Let's not think that at once you start, you want to become a fighter riker. Start small and grow. Start small, think big. We want to acknowledge our sponsors again, Janssen, Ozones, Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, Kofi Krom Pharmacy, Prime Pharmacy, and Lapag. And again, and Clinell sanitizer made by Clinell Ventures. Thank you so much for making this possible. Like we had said, Lead It Africa wants us to know that this is the beginning, and so they would have another session very soon, which they are dubbing Pharma Business Mentors. But for the panelists who were here, both those of us on set and those that dialed in and joined, Kate, Ansa, and Lucia, thank you so much for making it and giving us an insight, which I believe that this forum has created that opportunity. Again, thank you, Theresa Yamsen, Patience Chega, and Nancy Ampa for joining us make the first edition of Women in Pharma Business. I mean, I think with this kind of kick, it is just going to continue, because this is a conversation that doesn't end. This is a conversation that we would continue. You can reach out to Lead It Africa. They would put up their numbers that you can contact them with. And then let's keep the conversation going. But start small, think big, start small and grow. And because you are a woman, you can. Let nobody put fear in you that you can't. You can. And thank you so much for joining. We will see you shortly, and we will see you soon. Thank you very much.